All right. We're now streaming on the second channel. Patrick Gnarly and company. Thanks for watching. This is exciting. Let's see how this goes. Let's make that a little bit bigger, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I'll pull that down a little bit. All right, there we go. Yo, what's going on? What's up, China Star? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Yeah, so it's basically the same layout. I'm going to make some changes. We're probably going to play video games on here too, but I have to get a graphics card for this computer. I don't have one that's good enough. I got a very old graphics card in this computer right now. Pretty brutal. Well, China Star, you got any questions? You want to talk about any music stuff? Any ideas? Get us started? What do you think? I think I'm actually going to cut that off for a little bit. Make myself a little bit bigger. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. What do you think? Looking good? Sounding good? What do we got for you? There we go. What's my favorite Green Day song? Green Day song? Brain Stew is so damn good. American Idiot was a fantastic album, though. Really loved American Idiot. Dookie's obviously a really good album, too. Yeah, dude. Anything... let me put it this way. In my opinion, the greatest hits from Green Day was when they played the live album, Bullet in a Bible. Fantastic record. I listened to that album probably for like 2 months. Full blast. Did you ever listen to the live album? Real good. Really love the live album from Green Day. Oh, yeah. Are we on the second channel? It looks the same, so hold on. Oh, it is. Woo! It is. Yo, it's the new channel. Yo. There's probably not going to be very many people who pop in here just because this channel has so few people that watch it for my music and for my, discussions on music and guitar and things like that. Most of the people there, if you might notice, there might be some people that pop in like, what's going on in here? Like, who is this? Why am I subscribed to this? Because I had the second channel. Did anybody look through the videos I had on this channel? If you haven't yet, there's a whole bunch of videos I did previously when I used to do like interesting people, places, and things from Virginia. And some of them are actually still getting views, which is bizarre. I never advertised them, didn't really show them off. Yeah, it was the strangest thing. A whole bunch of people started seeing my old videos from this channel. It's very funny. I mean, I think that they're pretty well made, in my opinion. But they're definitely not the type of thing that I do now or want to do anymore. Yeah, the Bunny Man. Isn't the Bunny Man episode good? The Bunny Man episode, the interesting people, places, and things where I did, Crozet's Tunnel, Bunny Man. Those are the two best ones, in my opinion. The most searched one or the most watched one is the episode I did on abandoned places. And I think that's more because a lot of people got annoyed because I mispronounced 2 words in it, which, in my defense, those are not normal pronunciations. Like, if you'd have to know somebody from that area to be like, oh, that's what it's called. But I lived like an hour or 2 away from it, so I was like, it's fine. But yeah, that's kind of how YouTube works. The way that YouTube works is that it doesn't matter good or bad comments. If you're commenting, that counts as engagement. So if somebody does something on your show or on your video or your song, whatever it is, the idea is that any engagement counts. It's pretty strange. We got Phil Kramer. Hold on, I'm going to make you guys mods, by the way. I'm going to put you add as a mod. We got Phil in there. Add as a mod. All right. So yeah, you got any questions or anything? Thoughts on trains? Not really. No thoughts. I haven't really been on a train, not that I know of. I've been on subway tracks and things like that, but I've never been subway tracks. I've been on a subway. I've been on the metro in DC. I've been on the Metro. I think they called the BART in San Francisco. I got to go on that. But never really went anywhere else that had public transportation like that. Never been on a real train. Never been on an actual train. So, nope. You've been to a subway? Yeah. See, I've never really been to one of those things before. Like an actual Amtrak or anything like that. Never been on it. Nope. Never been on it. But it sounds cool. Sounds like it's a really easy way to get places. The United States is really dependent on cars, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I love cars. Cars are cool. But it would be nice to have a way to go from California to New York or something like that in a really easy. And you're probably thinking, what about airplanes, buddy? Yeah, but I don't know. There's something special about getting a place and not having to wait and wake up massively early and get there early and do all that. It'd be nice to just show up at a train station, get on something, take a week, go somewhere. You know what I mean? That sounds nice. That sounds like a nice little experience because you could just look out your window and you're like, oh, look, there are the mountains. Or, oh, yeah, check it out. There's a lake. Whereas you're on a plane, you're like, clouds. Oh, look, fields. You know what I mean? It's not a terrible experience. It's fast. It's great. But for those there's people that want, let me make this point. There are people that want to see America, and there are people that want to go through America. There are people that want to experience America, and there are people who just want to fly through it. You know what I mean? So that's my whole point. Is when I went on a road trip. Road trips across the United States are great, but you break down, you're screwed. It's not a great experience, which has happened to me. If you ever had a flat tire in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, oh shoot. My spare is all messed up, which I didn't know. Yeah, that sucks. So, but anyways, nobody has questions about music, guitar, streaming, anything like that? Let me know if you have a question. You can super chat them, but I'll probably answer them as they come in. We're just kind of chit-chatting about stuff. Does anybody want to know about buying used guitars? Because that's a subject I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to make a video about this, but I did want to describe this and talk about it in depth before I made the video. Because I thought it was really interesting. Does anybody play guitar in here? Anybody a guitar player? You a guitar player? Just making sure. If you're not, that's okay. If you're interested in buying guitars, if you're interested in playing guitars, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. Chinosaur says yeah. Jonathan, you said yes. Zoe, you said you do? Okay. Everybody plays guitar? Okay. Or at least some of you do. Well, let me explain it. So I mainly buy used guitars. So if you've ever seen me play a guitar on the show, like the ones I have right here, these are mostly used. I bought this blue one used. I bought this white one used. I bought this red one used. I bought this Les Paul Custom used. I bought this SG copy used. I bought the acoustic used. I bought the other Les Paul that I have over here used. Most of these guitars are used. So the idea is that there's a lot of benefits to buying a new guitar, but when you buy used, you can really get a really good deal, and it really isn't that bad. Obviously, most people who buy something that's expensive, they want to take care of it. They don't want to destroy it. And in fact, most people, when they buy a guitar, really doesn't get used that much. A lot of times it gets neglected, which can be bad, but I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can save 50, 60% on something that's brand new. So I think most people that play guitar are unfamiliar with the process of buying used. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you take 10 minutes and check out a guitar, in person, you can save a ton of money. And I'm going to show you guys some steps. I'm going to talk about it with you. And I'm going to split it into 3 parts. So there's 3 big areas. The biggest one, in my opinion, is the research. And I can't stress this enough. You must research a guitar before you buy it. Unlike buying a used car or a used computer part, you can actually see in the pictures online and stuff if there's an issue or not. And that's a huge advantage with guitar players, is that we can just look at stuff and be like, oh, that's in good condition. It's probably fine. Whereas if you're trying to buy a car online, you got to drive it. If you go get a graphics card or something, a CPU, you really got to check it out. There could be stuff under the hood, literally, that is not working well. But yeah, so the first thing that I like to do when I'm buying a piece of used gear is I ask, do they have a return policy? That is the number one ally for you. This immediately shuts down like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and a lot of places like Reverb.com. Some of the people that are on there that are selling guitars, they don't really have return policies. So you really want to buy from somebody who has a return policy. It's really, really important. That way, if you screw up, you can just be like, hey, I want that back. You know what I mean? Give me my money back. So make sure you're starting out with somebody who has a return policy. I mean, if you're not 100% certain with your capabilities anyways, definitely do that. I've been playing guitar for 20 years. So the idea is that even I like to buy from stuff with a return policy. So that's kind of self-explanatory. But remember, here's another thing too. The guitar might be exactly what was advertised and the condition was great, but the price was right, but maybe you just don't like it. Maybe you get it and you're like, I've never played this before. And you're like, I hate this. This happened with me. I bought a Les Paul, what was it? Cloud. I think it was the Cloud 9, the reissue. And it's really expensive now. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And I actually hated it. I just really didn't enjoy the guitar. So I ended up returning it. Even though I like Les Pauls, even though I like lots of guitars out there. And it was very strange for me to find one that I just didn't like. So anyways, so I got to return it, and it was in fine condition, but yeah. Anyways, so make sure you can return it. So make sure there's a return policy. And I made a list of some places that sell used gear with a return policy. Number one would be like Guitar Center, Musician's Friend, Chicago Music Exchange, Music Go Round. Some shops on Reverb do accept returns. And if you don't know what Reverb is, Reverb.com is a kind of like an eBay, but just for musical equipment. So yeah, a lot of those have return policies, but keep in mind some of the stores have restocking fees, like you'll have to pay 10% or 20% if you return it. Not a big deal usually, but it's kind of annoying. But you just want to make sure they have stuff like that. So like a return policy with for free, I should say. And some places, even the same store, have different return policies. So for example, Guitar Center. As of the posting, or as of me recording this right now at least, Guitar Center has a 45-day return policy. That's massive. I mean, 45 days, you have a month and a half to screw around with a guitar. And as long as you don't damage it, you can just return it. That's awesome. I mean, but here's the other thing too. Their vintage stuff, 3 days. So you always got to check and see what the return policy is with the store you're going to, but make sure there is one. So yeah, but I'll assume for the rest of this discussion that you're buying from somebody off of Facebook Marketplace or like a friend or something like that where there's no takebacks. You got to make sure you can actually check it out. Next, you should check to make sure you actually know exactly what you're buying. If you're not able to see it in person, you're buying online, sight unseen, you should really read the description. I mean, every line. Because sometimes people will put important details in there, and it could get buried in a giant paragraph. Things like neck repair or refinished or not sure if it's original parts. I mean, those things get buried in there. So, or not supposed to be this model. Most people selling their items are going to know what year and what model and what brand of guitar they have. That's most people. So if somebody's unsure of like where they bought it or like what it actually is, that's a red flag. That's a weird kind of thing. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean they like don't want to be honest, but it is weird how they do that. So, but yeah, so that's a big thing. So make sure you know what you're buying, and make sure you read about it. And they will often include photos. That's another thing too. So make sure to look through those photos carefully. A red flag to look out for is if there's only a few photos, like maybe one or two, or if the photos are blurry or they're not showing the whole guitar. If they're just odd photos, like why would you buy something that like really has not a lot of information? So that's not a great thing to do. So make sure the pictures are good. Make sure they took their time with them and explained what it is. Because if somebody's trying to sell something shady, they're going to use bad photos, because here's what could happen. If you buy that guitar and you keep it and then you find out it's stolen later, they'll be like, can you show the pictures of the guitar? They can say that I didn't sell him that. It doesn't show the serial. That just looks like it. They could. They could absolutely do that. And speaking of that, like shady people, if you're on some sort of marketplace, look at the seller. Are they a well-established account with hundreds of sales? Are they a physical store you can just go to? Are they not someone named Jessica who's on Facebook Marketplace with no photo and they just joined this year and they have no history? Sorry, Jessica. I mean, if that's your real name, but I'm not buying from you. And I've seen that. Facebook Marketplace has tons of things like that. If you ever tried to look for houses to rent or buy, dude, it's a whole minefield filled with mines. There's so many people that are pretending to have a house and they're just trying to scam you. They don't have verification on there. You can just make Facebook accounts all day. So there's a lot of people that do that. So be careful when you're on websites that are free, especially. Another thing to look out for, and this has to go with the shadiness, is when you're looking at serial numbers. If any guitar you're buying does not show the serial number, or that has damage on the serial number, that's terrible. Like, that is a nightmare. Red flag, immediate, don't buy it. Oftentimes when people steal something, they will like damage the serial number, or they'll remove it, or they'll change it. Like, that is absolutely stolen if you see something with damage on it like that, or it's been changed or altered. Yeah, it's not a good look. And here's the other thing too. Guitars, not as expensive as a car. There's also no major database for it. So if something gets stolen in one state, you're not going to know if it's stolen in another a lot of times. So yeah, don't do that. There's slimy people that are out there. There's also people that buy stolen stuff and they just forget it's stolen. That's another thing that happens. So maybe they don't even know they can't legally sell it. So don't make the mistake of buying something stolen or with the serial number altered or changed in some way. You want to make sure you buy it fairly. That way, if you have to sell it, you don't get in trouble for stolen goods. It might not have been a legal sale. So another thing that happens is people accidentally just list stuff that's the wrong item. If you look up Gibson Les Paul, does anybody play guitar in here still? We got some new people. We're talking about how to buy a used guitar, what to look for when buying a used guitar. Does anybody know what a Gibson Les Paul is? I'm sure most of you who play guitar, you know what that is. I have a Les Paul Custom right here. Beautiful guitar. Phenomenal guitar. But let me say this. If I say I have a Les Paul for sale, it could mean hundreds of different types of Les Paul. There's Les Paul, for example, Les Paul Studios. There's customs. There are deluxes. They are standards. They are studio deluxes. There are 2015 standards, traditionals, traditional pros, deluxe customs, custom lights, a 1976 custom. I mean, the list goes on. The Murphy Labs, the made to measures. There's so many different types of Les Paul. So the idea is that there are so many models. It's very easy for somebody to just say it's one thing when it's actually something else, or even accidentally. So make sure you know what you're buying. So it's pretty crazy. Aspen says, do you do these Pat Chats after every stream, or do you do them periodically? Well, I used to do them during the old streams. So the idea is that I would talk to people during my music streams, but people often just wanted me to play music. So I was like, okay. But yeah, I decided to make a second channel so that I didn't have to worry about copyright, because oftentimes when I play music in the background, I can't monetize the video, and it's very annoying. So it's not a great experience. I want to do them either before or after. We're still trying to figure out what works best. I know that I only have so much time with my voice that before I start to lose it, because you sing for 3 hours on a show and you talk for 3 hours, you start to lose it. So I don't know if I'm going to do it before or after. We'll see. We'll see for how long. It's still experimental right now. But great question. I like that question. Thank you so much. But where were we? We were talking about Gibson Les Pauls, right? So the list goes on. There's so many different types. So it's very easy for somebody to just take something off of one guitar and just put it on something else. This guitar has the what they call a truss rod cover. It has been taken off. I don't have it on there. And you wouldn't know what model this is. Does anybody want to try and take a guess at what model this is? Just by looking. Just by looking at this. Anybody a Les Paul expert? And if you know the answer, don't say it. Let people guess. Yeah, let me know if you can guess what guitar this is. I only know there's a couple people in here. Anyways, so see what I mean? Without certain details, you're not sure what they are. Yeah, like I said, it's very easy for somebody to just claim it's something else without extensive knowledge. Like if you don't know about neck profiles, if you don't know about color options, pickup combinations, the years of manufacturing, it's very easy for somebody to pick up the wrong guitar on a sale. I mean, for example, there was a guitar that was listed not that long ago, and it was listed as a 1998 Les Paul Standard. However, I'll probably show a picture of this after the show, but yeah, there was a 1998 Standard, but it was actually a Les Paul Studio, and the way you could tell was like a lot of Les Pauls have this thing called binding. If you look at this, it has this like plasticky stuff right here that goes around the wood on the top to make it look nice. It was missing that, and it was also missing it from the fretboard. And so there's telltale signs for people to look. But if you're not an expert in stuff like that, if you don't know what you're buying, then you got to be careful. So the remedy for that is, if you don't know every guitar ever made, like I don't even know every guitar ever made, what you want to do is when you see a guitar and you want to buy it, go look at pictures that match the description. So like, for example, if they say 1998 Les Paul, Standard, go and look at what a Les Paul Standard from 1998 looks like, because they do change over the years. Chinasaur says, how often do you adjust your truss rods? Not that often. I mean, the idea is that as time and the weather affect your guitar, the neck is like a balancing act. So as time goes on with those strings pulling on it, if humidity changes, it could go forward or it could go backwards. So the idea is that maybe once a year they might need, or maybe twice a year they might need a little bit of adjustment. But you can feel it. You'll know when something is changing on it. We'll actually talk about that with this used guitar buying guide that I'm kind of talking about. I got hiccups, sorry. Yeah, ideally you want to go on a website, go to Google Images and type in like 1998 Les Paul Standard and then look at it. The serial number also gives away what model it is. So make sure if you can get the serial number, you can actually just look it up on some like websites, and you can even call Fender or Gibson or things like that and be like, hey, can you check this out? Fender's is really good. If you go to the Fender website and you type in a serial number, it's incredibly accurate. It's not 100%, but it's very accurate, especially with newer guitars. But I'll give you another example. If somebody says they have a Les Paul Standard for sale, and they say it's a 2015 Les Paul, and they're selling it for like, I don't know, $3,000 or something, pretty high. That particular model year is actually not as desirable as, say, like a 2016 or 2017, things like that. Even though they look very similar, if you look at a 2015 Les Paul, it looks very similar. It's not that similar. They made some changes that year, and people hated it. It is an infamous year for Gibson. 2015 Les Pauls have a bunch of changes on them, and they are not good, and people did not like them. So people really do not want to buy those. So if somebody says they have a Les Paul Standard, you're like, oh, it's going for a good deal, and you go to look at it, there's probably a reason. So pricing is a big reason, too. If something looks a little cheaper than usual, it's not a good sign. And that being said, there's guitars that are incredibly consistent. If you notice, I play a lot of these guitars, these Strats. I like the Made in Mexico Strats because they're very inexpensive. You can get them for less than $500. They're very consistent with their quality. You play one, you play them all pretty much. And they made this guitar from 1990 to 2012. That is a huge run for a very similar model. So if you're looking at guitars, sometimes they don't change that often. Now, afterwards they did change, but anyways, I could go on about different models. You just want to make sure whatever they call it is exactly what you're actually looking at and you want to buy. So let's move on. So let's assume you did all this research. You looked at pictures of the guitar model. They match up. You're familiar with what it is. You have to check it out in person. Let me explain something. Oftentimes, when somebody is selling a model, it might be a good deal per se, maybe. You have to look at how much they're selling for. This is a big one. Has anybody bought a used guitar recently? Anybody in the audience? I would love to know if anybody has bought a used guitar recently. I'd love to find this out. Jonathan, you bought a used guitar recently? Did you look up and how much they were selling for used? Not asking price, but like the sold listing? Oh, you got a KC Jaguar? Those are great. That's a phenomenal. That's probably the best Jaguar ever made, in my opinion. They're honestly like a Les Paul. They're more like a Les Paul than a Jaguar, which I actually enjoy. But you said no? Okay, so let me explain. So if I'm selling, let's just go back to the Kirby. If I was selling this guitar and you didn't know anything about guitars, you were just like, I don't know, it looks good. Oh, 1100's fair. You got a pretty good deal. That's fine. With a case, it should come with a case, right? Doesn't it come with a case? Anyways, yeah, 1100 is fine. I've seen them people sell them for like $1,400. So you did a good job. But the idea is that this guitar, if I say what it is and you're looking at it and it's in good condition, I can ask for however much money I want. I can be like, I'll sell it for $1,000. And if you don't look it up and see how much they're selling for, then you're not going to know if you're getting ripped off. So you don't look at the asking price, because I can ask however much money I want. I can put this for $1,000. That doesn't mean it's worth $1,000. These guitars go for about $500 or a little bit less, maybe a little more if it's a rare color. But you got to look that stuff up. And the way you do that is you go on eBay and you look at the sold listings. You go to reverb.com, look at the sold listings, and you got to find them like 2000. What is this? 2007 or 2008. This is a 2008 Fender Standard Stratocaster made in Mexico. That's it. So $500, perfect. You know what I mean? No more than that, though, in my opinion. $500 that's fair. A little bit less, good deal. As long as it's not damaged and it doesn't have anything crazy with it, then cool. But you got to check that stuff out. And another thing too is I always like to talk about when you're buying used gear is just ask people. It's like, hey man, I found a 2008 Fender Strat, and the guy's asking $600. You think I should pull the trigger? And they'll say, nah, dude, $600. It's got to be brand new. That guitar is like almost 20 years old. Why would you buy a 20-year-old guitar for like brand new prices? And they'd be like, oh, okay, I'll ask for $450. You know what I mean? That's what you should do. Ask somebody. There's tons of people. Don't ask random strangers online. You want to ask people with experience. Like I have 20 years experience playing guitars, and I've worked in shops on and off for the past 15 years, and I buy regularly. Every year there's an in and out guitars, in and out of my house. So you want to have somebody with experience. Don't just ask a random person on the street, because I see that. I was talking about this on my other stream. Somebody was like, what guitar should I buy? I'm new. And I was in the middle of a song, so I can answer it. Somebody said, Squier. And I was like, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But they could have said something crazy. You know what I mean? They could have said anything. And what's funny is the kid asked no questions, no follow-up. They just said, okay. And then they just left. You want to make sure you talk to the right people. But with all of that out of the way, you did your research, you looked at pictures, you know what it's supposed to be, you know how much they sell for, everything lines up. So what do you do when you actually get to see the guitar? Or maybe you buy it online, sight unseen, and you get it. Or maybe you go to the person's house and you check it out. So you want to look at condition. That's a big thing. So I'll start with the frets. I always like to start with the frets because that's one of the most expensive things on a guitar to fix. So you could have, like, we were talking about this guitar being a $400 or $500 price, right? If you have to refret, we'll get to that. But what I do is when I get a guitar is I'll usually just play every single fret. You know what I mean? Just play every single fret. And don't just play it once, but like play it. Play it for a minute. Do some bends. Because like a lot of times what happens is if like you're just checking the frets. And I've seen people do this where they'll play it like sitting down. They'll be like, it's like, you don't play guitar like that, do you? You play guitar like this. You play in the seating, in the playing position. So it's really bizarre. We had a question from somebody saying, China Source says, I'm thinking of getting a bass. Should I? Why wouldn't you? What are you, crazy? You don't like bass? What's wrong with guitar, though? You don't like guitar? I like guitar better. This is something I've said for years. I would never be a bass player in a band. I wouldn't feel comfortable. There's something about it that just makes me not want to play them. Yeah, I always play guitar. And here's the other thing, too. You could play bass like a guitar. You could play guitar like a bass. China Star says, I do. I just want to learn bass. I see. So you're a casual musician. I'm just kidding. Phil says I was the bassist. It's okay. I'm just giving you guys shit. Here's the thing. Let me put it this way. I would never play bass, but bass players are cool. Bass players are cool. You guys are awesome. Somebody's got to play bass. Somebody's got to lift up that low end. Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't appeal to me. Like, I've never sat down and said, I want to be the bass player. The bass line is sick. I think if anything, if I ever had to play bass, I would play bass in like a dub reggae band, because the bass is actually kind of like moving around and doing stuff. Whereas the guitar is like, here's the guitar in a dub reggae band. That's boring as hell. I'd rather be like, you know what I mean? It's going to be doing something. That's why I always like to do stuff when I'm playing music. I don't like to be too, like, that's why I sing and play. If I just played guitar, I'd be bored out of my mind. I don't want to do it. I want something a little more challenging. I want something more interesting. So, Ginger is the name of the band. Man, I wish I could listen to it. I'm trying not to play music on this show, because when you play music on live stream, you can't share it. You can't monetize it or anything. It's terrible. So that's why it's just going to be talking and stuff like that. So anyways, where were we? So we were talking about the condition. Okay, so you look at the frets. You check out. Do you guys still want to hear about this stuff, the used guitar stuff? Let me know if you want me to keep going. I like how I said I'm not going to be like, I want to be talking to people more often. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk about this as fast and as much as I can. Obviously, I'm going to pause. Phil says, lay it on us. All right, there we go. So a big red flag when you're buying a used guitar is when you're being sold, especially when it's used, is if there's no strings on it. If you've ever seen on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, sometimes you'll see a guitar without strings. That's like an immediate pass. I mean, how are you supposed to play it? How are you supposed to check it out? I mean, like, or if it's really poorly set up. Like if the bridge screws, like the saddle screws, the grub screws, I think they're called, if those are sticking way out and they're going to like annihilate your hand, or if the strings are really rusty and nasty, dude, you don't want to do that. Come on, man. Can you imagine driving in somebody's car and there's like bugs in it? You'd be like, no, I'm not getting in that thing. What if there was like a dirty diaper? Ugh, no thanks. I'm not getting in your stupid Passat. Get out of here. Get your Jetta. Get your Hyundai Elantra out of here. I'm not doing that. Yeah. Same thing with nasty strings. Yeah, no thanks. If your guitar is not ready to go right there, get it out of here. When I used to work at a guitar shop, I used to always see people. I feel so bad for you guys. Who has sweaty hands? Do you guys have sweaty hands in here? My hands just don't sweat. My guitar strings literally waste away under like just playing it, but they never get nasty. I'm so lucky. So my hands like don't sweat, so my guitar strings don't get all nasty. Like, for example, these guitar strings on here, I think I just replaced them after like 8 months. And that's because I had to. Like I was tuning it to something else. And I was like, okay, I need to put new strings on it. Yeah, the strings on the Benji Caster, those are like a year old. The strings on my Stratobastard, that's the black and white Strat right here. These are like a year old. These things are super worn away, but they still play fine. But I do need to replace them eventually. The frets need replaced on that. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, if you get sweaty hands, the idea is that sucks. You're just going to have to get coated strings. If you've never played guitar before, you can get coated strings. They're a little more expensive, but they last longer. So you guys are lucky. Technology has moved on. If you were playing guitar in like the 80s, or I'm sorry, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, you were screwed. When did Elixir make their first? I think they were the first brand to make coated strings. They're kind of like the default when people talk about it. They're not anymore, but they were. When did those come out? Let me pull those up. I used to use elixirs, then I realized they were completely useless for me. They feel soft. They're really 97. You had to wait till 1997 before your hands could play guitar for more than a week. Isn't that crazy? That's unsettling how many people have been playing guitar with like wicked nasty, like is it Rory Gallagher? Hold on. I think Rory Gallagher. Yeah, if you guys want to see something crazy, he was a sweat master. His guitar, he had a 50 Strat or a 60? I think it was a 60 Strat. He sweat so bad into his guitars, man. Hold on, let's get the picture of this. We're going to get a picture of the Rory Gallagher Strat. And you guys are going to go, what? This thing is absolutely annihilated. Here, we'll pull it up. Desktop. No, I don't want I want the picture, dang it. Let me see the picture. Come on, man. Dude, I hate it when you're trying to save an image. And it's like, do you want this weird link? It's like, no! Let me get the picture. I got to show the people. I need a picture, dang it. All right, we'll have to do with this one. Oh, we'll go to the Wikipedia. All right, you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell. But the paint is absolutely annihilated on this thing. So I'm going to pull up Rory Gallagher Strat. And you're going to go, holy sh... That's crazy. The paint on it is just almost bare wood completely. And it's not like he did that, like, on purpose. He did that playing it. All right, here we go. Check this out. This is the Rory Gallagher Strat. I know it's a black and white photo, but you can see like the paint on the top horn. You can see it. It's supposed to be a Sunburst Strat, and it's just completely destroyed. Willie Nelson's, oh yeah, Trigger, that guitar. Yeah, that guitar is absolutely destroyed too. But that's more from wear than sweat. Like, I wish I could pull up the color version of this, but yeah. Yeah, if you saw it, okay. Hold on a second. I want to see if I can get a picture of it where it's actually visible, the paint. Because if you sweat on a guitar with nitrocellulose finish... Oh, I think I found one. Oh, please. Oh, please. Yes, I got it. Okay, I think I did at least. Okay, images. Yeah, if you sweat on a guitar with nitrocellulose lacquer finish, say that 3 times fast, it'll just wear away. It just turns into soup. It's pretty bad. Browse. I think this is it. Yeah, here we go. So this is the Rory Gallagher Strat. You can see how much of the wood has been worn off on that thing. See it? You can barely tell it used to look like this. Isn't that amazing? Just from the sweat and him playing it. The whole thing is just gone. It's gone, McCready. Can it be repaired? It's gone. So incredible how he did that. So yes, sweat just eats away finish and strings, and I mean that is the most and it looks so cool. Doesn't that look great? Doesn't it look like a sick guitar? Oh, it's so awesome looking. I love it. But yeah, so you definitely want to check out the guitar, and if it doesn't have strings on it or if the strings are nasty, I mean, that's kind of a dead giveaway that it's not in good condition anyways. Yeah, you definitely gotta play it and check it out. So another thing too is after you're checking out the frets is you want to make sure the neck's not warped. A guitar with warpage will play pretty different than another guitar if you're not familiar. China Star says, I play with a jacket on, but I always have a jacket on either way. So you bathe with a jacket on? I go to school with a jacket. I used to wear the same jacket all the time when I was in high school. There were 2 jackets. I had this Tommy Hilfiger like hoodie, like a zip-up hoodie, and I used to tie the top part. I would wear it every day. And I remember people were like, why do you do that? And I was like, I don't know. I just like the jacket, dude. You know, I like it. And people were like, yeah, but why do you tie the top? And I'm like, I don't know. Can I just wear my jacket? Is that cool? And then I had like a green army looking jacket that I really liked. I wore that for a long time too. I don't know. Sometimes you just find something, you enjoy it. You know, it becomes like your uniform. Looks pretty sick. But yeah, I remember that. But that was only like a year. I wore one of them. The other one I only wore for a year. Yeah. Anyways, so while we're talking about setups and guitars, is you want to make sure it's set up well. And does anybody know what kind of preferences they like on guitar? Does anybody have a preference? Because I know exactly how to set up my guitars to a T, like to an absolute point. What is it? 1,000th of an inch. That's like, okay, I know what I like. This is the way I prefer. I can play other guitars with different setups, but I know a good setup from a bad one. Let me put it that way. If you don't know a good setup from a bad one, then it's not really easy for you to buy a used guitar. You want to know exactly what a good setup is. But let's assume something. Let's assume you're playing your guitar that you're wanting to buy used. Everything matches up. The frets are fine. It plays okay. There's no like rust. It's in fine condition with that. I mean, you got to check out the electronics. Did you play with the electronics and stuff like that? Does anybody know what a potentiometer is? If you don't know what a potentiometer is the knobs. So it's the knob you turn on a guitar. That's a potentiometer, or a pot, as they call it. They say it's got good pots. The pots are scratchy. That's when somebody says that, they mean the knobs. So underneath the plastic knob, there's like a little thing down there. And you can, I think I have one. You can probably see. Let me see if I have a potentiometer just around. When you work on guitars, when you buy used stuff, you have to replace parts. So yeah, let's see if there is one. I'll be right back. I have my toolbox right here. I'll probably just be able to pull one out. Yep, right there. Found it immediately. So if you buy a guitar, or if you're trying to buy a used guitar, and you sit down with it, and you're trying to turn the knobs and they're like scratchy, this is what you're doing. See this little guy? It's probably out of focus, but I'll pull up my other screen right here. Look at that. It's just this little circly dial thing. This is the part that turns. That's it. It's pretty cool. So the idea is that, this is just what is it, a 250K pot? I think it's a 500K pot, actually. But yeah, so the idea is that this is what's actually turning underneath the plastic knob. What's nice is if you're playing a guitar, and you turn the knob and it's like scratchy, it's like, it's easy to fix that. It's super easy to fix that. You get something called Deoxit, which is, I actually have some just right here. It's clear because of the green. But it's called Deoxit. You spray, you go like this. And then you spray it and you turn it. And then all of a sudden it turns a lot better. It's clear. Super easy to just use that. So if you ever have a guitar with a scratchy pot, you can just spray that in there. Or just turn it. You can actually make it go away, like the scratchiness. You can clean the dirt or whatever debris in there, or whatever filaments. You just turn it like 20, 30 times in a row, and that sounds like a lot, but it's a free fix. I have a video actually showing that, but yeah, it's pretty nice. Does anybody have any questions so far? Anybody confused about anything? Anybody like, you were talking about this, but I'm not sure what this is? Or, Patrick, I'm looking at these kind of guitars. Can you talk about those for a second? Or if anybody has a question about specific brands or anything, I can keep talking. Let me know if you guys have questions. Interrupt. Absolutely. This is supposed to be a talk show. This is supposed to be a hangout session with the people. You know what I mean? Yeah, let me know if you guys got questions. Also, I got a question for you if you don't have a question for me. I was thinking about playing video games on here and just talking and answering questions and stuff. Do you guys think I should do that? I think it's a good idea. What game should I play? Phil says, do you like Martin acoustics? Oh, yeah. Martin's, I would say number one Martin. I would say number one Martin, number two Gibson acoustics. As much as I bash on Gibson's electrics and stuff, their acoustics really are the real deal. I think I also really enjoy Siegel and Breedlove. Yamaha makes excellent acoustics. I really like Yamaha. Furch, which is a hilarious name, but Furch, best sounding acoustic I ever heard in my life. Absolutely eradicates the competition for the money. I played one once, and it was so amazingly loud. It was a smaller body too, and it's just the woods they used was incredible. Apparently, they use computers. They use computers to like tune the wood, which I'm like, what? I know that when you get like a hammer and you hit certain dowels and stuff with wood, like the bracing, you can tune the wood to get a good note. But dude, the Ferk, oh my God, it was so good. I was this close to buying it. Somebody bought it that week. It was at a store I used to work at. I think they're from, where are they from? Hold on, let me look up where they're from. But yeah, that is a dream guitar of mine. Here we go. Ferk or Furch. I think it's Ferk. Let me see here. Where are they from? They're Czech. They're I was going to say Czechoslovakian, but they're Czech. They're from Czech Republic, I think, right? Damn, dude, they're so good. And anyways, yeah, no, I'll get one again. They're a popular brand. They're popular now. I mean, they're not like Yamaha or Gibson or Martin or Fender, but they're serious enough. If I like them a lot, that means a million other people like them. So, but they are so dang good. It was incredible how loud and clear it was. Like you'd have to pay $3,000 or $5,000 for a guitar like that, without a doubt. Martins go for that much for sure, like a D28 with the HD28, things like that. But the Ferks, I think, were like $3,000, and I was like, wow, they're giving these away. Anyways, can you tell I was a guitar salesman? At least I was. But I would love to have them. You have a 70s Yamaha? I have a 70s Yamaha, or I think it is an 80s Yamaha. You guys don't know this because I don't talk a lot about my gear on the show. But there's a room over there, and in that room, I have 2 guitars that are damaged that I'm saving up to fix. Now, obviously, I want to make sure I invest in the show, so that's why I got the computer. I got the other cameras and things like that. It's a 12-string. It's a 12-string Yamaha, but it's excellent. Their nylons are great, too. But, yeah, the 12-string I have over there, I used to play all the time when I was a kid. I actually wrote about this, if you guys have not joined the Patreon. In the Patreon, I wrote this huge, long story about some of my guitars and how I used to play them and stuff. If you want to learn about them, lowest tier is $1. So you're more than welcome to check it out. Yeah, the 12-string Yamaha. But, yeah, the bridge lifted off of it, so I got to save money to fix it. That could be a whole... You know what? That's going to be another video. I'm going to write that down. All the guitars I need to fix. Oh, yeah. We're gonna do that. Absolutely. All the guitars I need repaired. So let me just write this down for you. You have a 12-string Ibanez? What color? I know Ibanez has some really good colors. Is it mahogany? Is it black? Is it one of the more exotic flame top stuff? Shout out to Ibanez. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if I could get a deal with Fender, that'd be my number one. If I could get a deal with Gibson, maybe. I would rather go with Heritage, but, you know, Gibson's they got some good stuff. I like Les Pauls. But if I could get a deal with Ibanez, I don't know. They're more for shredders, and they like thinner, flatter necks. But if I can convince them to make me like a Strat, dude, it would be so easy. They're super easy. It's just a generic wood color? Okay. Just natural. Okay. Well, hey, if it felt good, if it sounded good, it was the right price, then awesome. I have a lot of respect for Ibanez. Ever since I tried to smash that one guitar on the show, that was incredible. That was an absolute incredible experience, trying to smash an Ibanez. That thing would not go down. The Yamaha and the Ibanez, they were like built like tanks. I could not believe it was that difficult to smash one of those. All the repairs I need. Yeah, I'll show you guys another one. So on my Les Paul Custom, there's a reason I don't really play this on the show that much. The frets on this thing are basically gone. There's like no frets. They are maybe 3 millimeters high. Like I could play it, like easily. I could play this right now. but it's not something I would enjoy playing, you know. The frets are just so... And then what's funny is Les Paul really liked small frets. Does anybody know who Les Paul is? Because the guitar is named Les Paul, right? That's the signature model. But has anybody listened to or like seen Les Paul himself? If you want to talk about hot dog fingers, that guy's hands are scary. Like here, let me pull up. Let me pull up. I wish I had met him, dude. Honest to God, he was one of my heroes. It's Leo Fender and Les Paul. They're my favorite. Some of my favorite people on the planet. Just geniuses. Let me show you this dude's hands. He liked small frets, which I think it's because he's a jazz guy. Dude, I'm not kidding. If you look at his hands, you're going to go, oh my God. This is real. This is a real picture of what his hands look like. I'll pull this up. This is insane. All right, let's see if we can pull this picture up. Hold on. Again, he's one of my favorite people. I'm not making fun of him. I'm just saying he's got some big old hands. And I'm not talking like Jimmy Page, like, or Jimi Hendrix spider crab fingers. Oh yeah, here we go. This is my boy. I really want this guitar too. Les Paul recording. Look at this dude's hand. Look at it! Look at my hand in comparison. It's like a baseball glove. It looks like he's holding a jellyfish or a squid. Look at that thing. God, it's like a rib cage. Look at it. Look at his other hand. He's like 80 years old in this picture. God, that guitar is great. I actually got to play that guitar. That's a great guitar. I really wish I owned one of those. Dude, his hands are out of this world. Absolute monsters. Mammoths. Tusks. Wish they were those. An incredible hand on those guys. Or on Les Paul. Absolutely insane. But yeah, Les Paul is just a genius. He's just so smart. But yeah, he really liked small frets, which I never understood. I like bigger frets for sure. I think there's a bare minimum for me. Anything bigger than that's fine. But yeah, why did he like small frets? That's weird. How can you play with railroad spikes on your hand and enjoy small frets? Why don't you just get a fretless, Les? Come on, fretless, Paul. Stupid joke. Chatosaurus says, the only guitars I have are a Glary Strat copy, left-handed, and this Yamaha acoustic with the strings swapped. Are you left-handed, Chinosaur? I've never heard of Glary. Yeah, let's learn about Glary. Glary. Is it 2 R's? Glary guitars. What are these? Oof. That price is scary. $90? I'm not saying it's bad, but that's not a good sign. $90? Now, hold on. There's a company that I actually really liked. I don't like to disparage new brands because sometimes they're good, but that's a scary price. I'm telling you right now. It looks okay from the pictures, but what's that one brand I was seeing a lot? It starts with a D. What's the name of the brand? Hold on. I can't remember. They're pretty cheap. Donner. Thank you, Jonathan. Donner. I actually got to play one of those, and I actually liked it. I almost bought one. I was like this close to buying a Donner. I actually enjoyed it. I played the Strat. I think it was the DST or something like that. Those are like $90, $100, $200 or something. I actually really liked it. I'm pretty lenient on inexpensive guitars. Yeah, I liked it. I'm not saying it was great. HSS. It was a humbucker, single coil. Harley Benton. I actually have one of those right here. These are like $200. I like this guitar. This was great. For the money, for $200, dude, it smokes. Epiphone, that's probably my least favorite brand. Epiphone, let me explain why I don't like Epiphone. I think Phil, you really liked Epiphone, or somebody said they liked Epiphone. I think Cool Killa did. So my beef with Epiphone is that because Gibson is in sort of competition with itself, it will never let Epiphone compete with Gibson. It will never do it. It will never make a guitar good enough to outshine Epiphone. If you know anything about cars, Corvette used to have a problem. General Motors, if you don't know, is a bunch of other companies put together. And so they have different sports cars. And so when Pontiac wanted to make a really good sports car, General Motors would always be like, listen, Pontiac, you can't make it faster than the Corvette. It's not allowed. You can't be better than the Corvette. That's our baby. That is the one that wins the races. We're going to keep Corvette the fastest. So with Pontiac and other companies, they would have cars that were good, but not better. Even though they could make it better. It was the thing. The Firebird was supposed to be something like that, if I remember correctly. But anyways, Gibson does the same thing with Epiphone. They will not make it competitive. So that's why other brands like Harley Benton, that's why Donner, there's another brand called Wolf. There's a couple other brands that kind of hang out, and they make stuff it's cheaper than Epiphone and better. Does that mean it's better than everything else? Not really. There are guitars in the $500 to $1,000 range that just are better. But you're spending so much more. The value for every, $50 you're getting so much better of an item. Like, I like this guitar. I don't like SGs, actually. I'm not a big SG guy. Even this is okay. But, I'm okay with spending $200 on this. I was okay with that. Because I wanted something like an SG for this. But when you buy something in the $200 to $300 range from Epiphone, they're terrible. They're terrible. You have to spend about $500 to $1,000 from Epiphone just to be good enough, in my opinion. $400 if you're lucky. But I mean, good enough. Like, if you like Epiphone, go for it. But in my opinion, dollar for dollar, there's so many brands for cheaper now, especially online. They're great. They're really great. I really like them. Like this Jackson. I'm not even a big metal guitar guy. I don't like flat necks. This was a really good buy. This is great quality. Ibanez, again, great quality. You don't have to like the model to like the quality of the guitar. Like $300 in Jackson money or Ibanez money or Harley Benton money smokes Epiphone. So that's what I got to talk about. This is the last thing. You got a Jackson too, Jonathan? Good smart. You got good smart. Yeah. Yeah, it's you have an RG or an RG? I like RGs. They're good. I don't like the flat necks, but I would take that over the D-shaped necks from Epiphone. They do that on purpose too. They gimp them. They cripple their guitars to make sure that they're not competitive with the over company. Whereas Fender doesn't do that either. Fender makes them good, but the better stuff, like the American stuff, is better, but it's just so much more money. That's what makes it not a good offer. That's what, you could buy American, go for it. I like the smaller necks on the Mexican-made stuff, but if they made that neck on an American model, I'd probably buy it, but they just don't. But yeah, there's so many guitars out there. So many. You want an SG someday? I'll tell you something about SGs. SGs are very unique guitars. A lot of people complain about neck dive, which if you're unfamiliar, this guitar suffers from it. Like if I put this guitar at an angle on my leg, it falls over. Which is is that a big deal? Not really. You can get used to that. None of my other guitars do that. Not a single one. Watch. And you're thinking, that's not a big deal, is it? Well, it is when you're constantly holding your guitar up. Watch. Strat's fine. It's balanced. Move forward a little bit. Move backwards a little bit. Nothing. Does not go anywhere. So SGs are unique because basically once you buy an SG, you get used to it. That's all you want to play is an SG, which I think, in my opinion, is not great. You want to be able to play other stuff, get inspiration. But if you find an SG that doesn't have the neck dive thing, because it's a wood density thing, it has to do with the balance, it'll be okay. But it is not as comfortable, in my opinion. I think they're better for standing up when it's low. But yeah, I'm not a fan of SGs anymore. And I've said this before on the show, and I'll say it again, is that I'm not a Gibson guy. I'm a Les Paul guy. Unless it's a flying V. I like flying Vs, but you can't sit down with those. I used to have a flying V. I really liked it. But it just didn't work. Well, folks, we've been streaming for about an hour. It looks like we haven't gotten too many people to come in, which is okay. But I think I'm going to get off real quick. I am going to finish up the script for that video I'm going to be making. I'm not sure if I'm going to release it tomorrow or the next day. We'll see about that. But, yeah, I think we're out of time. I would love to answer that question, Jonathan, but I think we are out of time. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you for being for the first stream for Patrick Gnarly and company. I'm going to try and do these before the show because I'm so tired right now. My eyes! The Sandman is beating me. But thank you guys for being here. I hope to have more kind of discussions and chats. I think I'm going to play video games or do something like that on the show, so it gives something visual to look at, and it's more entertaining. But I'll still answer questions and talk about stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for being here. It's Patrick Gnarly and company. All right. Bye-bye.